You know, making thumbnails is really the most difficult part about this whole YouTube thing. Hi pretty people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna and I like to talk about books. Hopefully you guys like to talk about books with me. And today's video is gonna be me reading 1-star comments or 1-star reviews on Goodreads for some of my all-time favorite books. This video is gonna be a pain, but honestly I enjoy watching these kinds of videos so much that I thought, let's put myself through the misery so you can have something to laugh about, to be entertained by. The lighting in here today is really bad, but I just wanted to show you real quick. I did dye like part of my hair pinkish purple, and I'm wearing pink eyeshadow today, and I just want to say 15-year-old me would be disgusted by it. And I am so glad that as I got older, I now with 21 can finally see that this whole I hate pink and I hate girlish stuff and I hate makeup, like I never used to wear makeup, that all of that was just a whole big bunch of internalized misogyny, and I am so glad that I could let that shit go. Even though I was a girl, I did not have a good opinion of girls, and I'm so glad I've matured a lot and kind of was able to let this go. But anyways, let's get to the books. So these are the books that I'm gonna be talking about today. We have The Secret History, Pride and Prejudice, Looking for Alaska, Six of Crows, A Little Life, and because it's trending right now, just everyone's talking about it again, The Hunger Games. Alright, so let's just start with book number 1, which would be The Secret History by Donna Tartt. What's The Secret History about? The Secret History is about a bunch of college students that murder one of their friends. This is not a spoiler, this happens on the very first page. And it kind of is about a classist and elitist approach of college life. I already know that is gonna be a lot of the criticism in the comments I'm about to read, but the thing is, it is supposed to be like a mockery of this elitism, and I think a lot of people don't get that, or either they just don't like it, which fair enough, we all have the things we do like and we don't. But this was a 5-star read for me, and I've read it twice by now and I just adore it, and Donna Tartt has just delivered a freaking masterpiece, and to think that this was her debut novel, I just can't. Right, so here's Goodreads on my phone, and I'm so afraid of it. I'm so afraid. But let's go to the 1-star reviews. So the first comment, it reads, "To be honest, if I wanted the thoughts of a bunch of classist elitists who know dead classic languages, I'd just have dinner with my family." And I can't even be mad about this one because it's just funny, but that's the thing I already said, right? Like the whole elitist thing with these pretentious ass students, that is wanted. That was on purpose. Actually, most of these reviews are pretty long. I'm trying to stick with the shorter ones. Oh my god! Someone said DNF at 55% because I can't keep doing this to myself. I just don't see the point of this drag, boring and slow torture. Like, we know what's going to happen from the very first page, and nothing from there on is surprise or even a little bit interesting to keep me going. What? I cannot understand that. I flew through this book so fast the first time I read it because the suspense just hooked me. Because the thing is, yes, the murder is given away on the very first page, but you don't know why, you don't know when, you don't know how, and everything that happens after we get to the murder in the book, I could not see that coming. That was not predictable. It's just, I mean, all right, fair. I don't want to like invalidate these these reviews. I just disagree. Someone said I wanted to give it 2 stars because it's not that bad, but I got a migraine. What does your migraine have to do with the book? I am hurt by these comments. You guys, why am I doing this to myself? This one said, some novels are brilliant, extravagant failures, grand disasters, where a reviewer can't help but want to kick at the wreckage and try to figure out what may have gone wrong. I'm just baffled by this. No! Everyone in this book should have died. Des, I don't know who hurt you, but that is mean. That's plain mean. Come on. Oh no. Okay, like this one kind of has a point, which is always the worst when you read a 1-star review that like kind of has a point. And it says, the only thing more boring than rich cokeheads are poor cokeheads who aspire to be rich. I see where you're coming from, but have you forgotten everything else around these characters except that there was some drug usage? Like, come on, this book was so much more. Someone said, I think the best way to describe this book is dense. And yes, there's so much in there. There's so much to uncover and so much to unpack and like look between the lines, and crammed into what, 450 pages? Is it? No, oh well, it's crammed into like 600 pages, but it's so worth it to me. Then again, I totally get when you don't like it, when a book is just packed. So fair enough that this is a 1-star for this person, but like the same thing is, this argument might make other people want to read it. So this is also what I love, that there's just different tastes. And when I give something a bad review, I always try to say why in a kind way. Most of the time. I try. Sometimes book slander is kind of appropriate, but most of the times I try to give a kind review with reasons why I didn't like it, because those reasons I didn't like it can be someone else's reasons to pick it up, which is kind of a beautiful thing. Book number 2 is Pride and Prejudice. No. Our main character, Elizabeth Bennet, meets this very wealthy man, and his name is Mr. Darcy, and it's kind of the origin of enemies to lovers. And you haven't read Pride and Prejudice because it's a classic. I kind of need to be that person that's like, you have to have read Pride and Prejudice. Okay, and the first review already is kind of funny. Obviously this person does not enjoy slow burn romances. They just said, Jesus Christ, just have sex. And yes, but if you don't like slow-paced romances that are like dragged out till the first touch of hands, this is not the book for you. This is like slow romance. This next person said, I cannot believe my professor read this 25 times. I am dead inside. See, with comments like these, I would so love to hear why people say that. Like, it's a book that I love, so I cannot imagine hating it this much. And actually it's kind of fascinating to read 1-star reviews to like understand why, but most people don't give a reason, they just hate on it. Someone said, hatred is too strong an emotion to waste on this literary twilight. Like what? How can you compare Pride and Prejudice with Twilight? I'm so confused by this. But no one explained it. Like, someone asked under this review, like, but how is it like Twilight? And then there's just a bunch of people saying, yeah, it's just like Twilight, it's trash, it's like Twilight, ugh. I'm like, but why? Can you give me an example? Can you give me a reason? I don't understand. It gets me all worked up, but maybe you enjoy watching this. I hope so. I hope this torture isn't wasted. I can't believe it's over. One of my most miserable experiences ever. Okay, but why? See, this is like, I mean, Okay, agree to disagree. Like, we obviously disagree on this, but someone else just said this was boring. I think boring is such an annoying word to use in a book review, because what was boring about it? Like, the whole thing just didn't interest you, so the plot was just not for you? Is it the genre that you don't care about? Is it, you know, is it the pace of the book? Like, what made it boring? I'm way too analytical about this. I'm just curious where people come from with these reviews for something I love so much. Like I said, I just can't understand why they say this. Okay, but this one I get. She just said, "I'm sorry, but I really don't like classics. I just can't get into them." And honestly, fair enough. Like, especially with the writing style in classics, sometimes it can be a bit exhausting to read. So I totally get if you say, you know what, that kind of is an extra hill to climb to get into the book, and I'm just not here for it. So yeah, I get it, I get it. This person said, "I'm sorry, I tried." And like, honey, it's okay. You didn't like it, it's fine. It's cute that you're apologizing. The next book is Looking for Alaska. And Looking for Alaska is my absolute favorite novel from John Green. And John Green is someone that has really been with me since I started middle school. Like, his books have played quite a big role in my life and in my teenage years. And this one was the first one to absolutely break me. If you've been on this channel before, you know I love a good book that can just make me cry. If you've not been here before, now you know. There's nothing I appreciate more than when I can just have a good cry from a book. When they like touch me, when they break me, when they like really get me into my feelings. I just think that's a form of art, to make someone feel so much just by mixing up some letters on a page, you know? Okay, so this one just says, "Didn't like The Fault in Our Stars, didn't like this one too." Well, I guess then sad John Green books are just not for you. That's okay. And someone else also just said, "I'll never find myself to like John Green, then maybe just stop reading his books." Like, I am someone who's always here for Colleen Hoover slander. Like, if you like Colleen Hoover, this channel is probably not for you. Sorry about that. So I noticed after 1.5 books, like the first was god awful and the second I DNF'd. So I knew, alright, you know what? Her books are just not for me. I should just not pick up another Colleen Hoover book. So maybe if you already know you will never find yourself into John Green, stop picking up his books. That's an easy fix here. Here's another one that just says, "I hate John Green books. Sorry." Okay, but if you already know that, why are you reading more of his books? I just don't get it. And someone here said, "I just couldn't continue, can't even force my way through it." So obviously a DNF for them. Oh my god. I feel like I'm just laughing at everything, but just this one just reads ew. Like, there's no comment about anything, it's just ew. What were you disgusted by, Gabriella? What's the issue? What the hell? This one says, "Reread it twice. 1 star." I mean, I can accept, not agree with it, but accept if you don't like a book that I hold precious. But how much do you like torture if you read a book 3 times that you didn't even like the first time around? I'm really wondering, was this for school? But then again, no one reads a book 3 times for school. So, honey, why did you read it 3 times if you hate it? And this person just put a quote, which is one of my favorite quotes from the book, and they gave it 1 star. Without a comment, without anything, they just put the quote. And the quote reads, "At some point, we all look up and realize we are lost in a maze." Which, yes, what's the issue with that quote? Why does that quote get 1 star? I don't like when people give 1 star to my favorite books. Which, you know, I should have seen coming before I sat down to make this video. Honestly, even the longer reviews don't really have have a point. A lot of them are just like spewing hate. Let's just move on. The next book is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. What's this one about? So this is a typical heist book, but it takes place in a somewhat magical world. There's a bit of I think the best way to describe it would be elemental magic, but it's not strictly elemental, it's a bit more complicated than that. And this is about like a group of street thugs committing crimes, like quite organized crimes. And what I love about this book and the sequel most is, I think, the found family trope in here. I'm a big sucker for found family. And I kind of expect some nasty reviews now in the 1-star category, because this is a very, very popular book talk book. And if you are on book talk, you know there's some awful shit circulating and getting a lot of attention, and just books that are that are not worth your time. Obviously, I disagree with Six of Crows being one of those books. I really, really enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm kind of expecting to see some mean stuff now. So let's see. Listen, alright, so this is a 1-star review that said it took me all of 2 chapters, maybe 20 pages to realize this is not the book for me. Fair enough. And now the good thing, I appreciate you, Anita, she gave her reasoning behind that. And this reasoning is something that would make me pick a book up. So makes sense because I liked it. So she said, it's got tons of names you can't remember or pronounce, a political intrigue, a sadistic streak, a heist/caper plot. All those elements immediately turned me off the book. Not my cup of tea at all. See, she gave her reasoning. She just doesn't like the combination of like plot points and tropes, and that's so valid. But to me, give me like a political intrigue, give me a heist, give me some morally great characters, and maybe even like a lot of characters that you have to find your way into, because I've read the Game of Thrones, or I've read part of the Game of Thrones books, or a Song of Ice and Fire series. Boy, you need a whole flip chart to get the characters straight. But I still enjoyed it. And so this is a good 1-star review, because it gives a reason and not just hate, you know? Ouch. So this one says, yikes. Why is this popular? I absolutely do not understand the hype about this book. So disappointing. And this is what I was expecting to see quite a lot, because it is a very, very popular book, and very popular books usually get the nastiest kind of hate comments or like bad reviews, you know? This wasn't even that nasty yet. It's just like, I don't like it, why do you like it? And you know what, that's okay. I mean, you're wrong, but no. Agree to disagree. I've said that like 50 times now. This one says bad and not worth finishing. Okay, but why? Tell me why you think that, give me some reasoning. Oh, see, this is what I mean when I say popular books get like quite some nasty reviews. This one says, I don't get the hype. Regular YA shit book. Boring and stupid and nothing. Okay, that was just plain mean. Like, why? Oh, he added and so overrated in an edit. Like, he edited his review and said so overrated. And like, I don't understand, because obviously it's not overrated when the rating on Goodreads is 4.49, which is like amazing out of 5 stars, you know? And you just happen to not like it. But it's not overrated because a ton of people still really, really like it. See, this is the next mean one. It just says, when I say overhyped, what do you say? This fucking book, fuck, I don't get it. Like, okay, I disagree. I disagree. Alright, see, this one says, no, I'm sorry, this is too stressful to read. And, okay, you know what? I can accept that, because it is fast-paced, there's a lot happening, it's kind of sad too, and like there's a lot of stuff going on. So if you say like, man, I need a cozy fantasy book right now, go for that. Six of Crows is not the one. Let's move on. This is the second to last, and this is A Little Life. This is another rather popular book, not especially on the main book talk that like hypes Colleen Hoover, but I'm such a mean person right now. But this one was also very, very popular on TikTok and also here on BookTube. So I am guessing that there will be equally mean reviews. But the thing with this book is, I myself have a big love-hate toxic relationship to it, because this book essentially is just a whole fucking lot of trauma dumping and confronting you with stuff that you never wanted to read. If you were one of the few unlucky people that have seen the broom scene from 13 Reasons Why, this book is worse. That's all I've got to say. This book is so graphic and traumatizing, and you know, if this doesn't haunt you when you finish, something is not right with you. This is, honestly, this is my review about it. And I'm gonna tell you, don't read it. Like, it's not worth the pain and the trauma and the, you know, you can put a lot of trauma on my plate and I'll just swallow it down and be fine. But this book that's still clinging to me, and I've read it last year. It's a whole lot. So all the trigger warnings you can imagine before picking this book up, be sure to know what you're getting into. And I myself just went on a rant, but I gave it 5 stars because, as I said earlier, I just adore when books can make you feel a lot. This made me feel a lot, even if it was not good feelings. Honestly, this book is torture. I basically just gave you a whole 1-star review, but I gave it 5. So let's get into the actual 1-star reviews. The first one just starts with "fuck this book," and yes girl, I get it. And honestly, I see where this person is coming from, like 100%. I totally did feel the same. Like, the beginning is so beautiful. It says, "And it started out so well. The writing is actually gorgeous. I can see why many people like this book. Really, Yanigara knows how to use language. Unfortunately, the story she told was not worthy of it. The longer I read this book, the more I dreaded reading it." And that is something I can really just put my name under, because the further you progress in this book, the worse it gets. And it just keeps on getting worse. And at some point it kind of feels comedic, because more and more shit keeps happening, and it's just, it kind of feels unrealistic that there's more and then there's more and then there's even more. But on the other hand, it was just too real, because shit like that does go down every day. You just block it out because it's so gruesome and dreadful and horrible. Oh, maybe maybe I should tell you what this is about, instead of just ranting about how terrifically horrible it is. So this is kind of about a group of college students, or like the story of how this group of college students met. But as you progress on in the book, you kind of notice that it's really about one of the people of this group and about his life and how the others fit into it, and about his backstory, about his future, and then you kind of progress with them from when they were like 20 or like 18 and met in college till up to like old age, you know, like they get older and older and you just keep going with them. Okay, I love this one. This person said, "This is not a novel to be tossed aside lightly. It should be thrown with great force," which apparently is a quote from Dorothy Parker. And yes. And next thing they said, "Manipulating readers to 9th degree of misery and sorrow." And yes, that's what it is. And they added a picture too to like show the progress of like show the progress of the book, and the picture is just a color fade that goes like from light to very, very, very dark, like just black. You know, yeah, that's just true. Oh yeah, okay, so this person said, I DNF'd this book. I get triggered emotionally by a lot of the subjects touched on. I read this book without knowing anything, and the book didn't have any warnings on it. And this is actually something I kind of criticize about it too. Like, if you pick this up without knowing anything about it, and by just reading the blurb, that is not an adequate like depiction of how traumatizing this book is. So again, I really say to everyone, and this person also says, please read the trigger warnings before picking this up. I really do wonder why it's not, you know, mandatory for books to put trigger warnings, at least for certain topics, because on TV there's always trigger warnings. For me personally, a book can get way more into my head, or like a book does get way more into my head than a movie. This man definitely didn't like this book. He says, I'd like to say to every single person involved in the writing, publishing, and even cutting of the trees that became the pages of this book, you should feel bad. And that is a strong opinion. Okay, that's enough of slander of a little life. Last book for today. The last book for today is The Hunger Games, the first part of Suzanne Collins' amazing dystopian book series. And this book, I decided to put this, I decided to throw this in here because, first of all, it is one of my all-time favorite books. I rated this 5 stars when I read it the first time in middle school, and I still rate it 5 stars today. This book just has so incredibly many layers of politics and systematic oppression, and there's just so much in here. You know, you can't even unpack with one time reading it. Like, I've read it a few times by now. But these copies are actually new. Like, I had my old copies, I had to throw them out because everything was just falling apart. So yeah, these are actually quite new copies. They've only been read once yet. So yeah, we've probably all seen the movies. I hope we've all read the books because these are culturally so significant, and I still can't understand that Suzanne Collins dropped this trilogy and then just vanished for years from the face of the earth and publishing books. And I still have to read the 4th book that she put out in, I think it was 2020. I have not read that yet, but it is on my TBR. But my TBR is long. So... But yeah, the movies have been getting a lot of attention again because I guess a new one is coming out, like the one based on the new book. And the first 4 movies were on Netflix for this month, but only for this month. Basically, my whole For You page on TikTok has just been The Hunger Games in the last 2 weeks. So yeah, I just wanted to include this here today and talk a bit about it. And now I'm very curious if there's even someone on Goodreads who did give a 1-star review to The Hunger Games. And if so, I don't know how you could do that. Like, it's The Hunger Games. How do you give that 1 star? Okay, so there actually is 1-star reviews, and I am really curious what they are about because I don't understand how you could put this social, political, amazing dystopian masterpiece in a 1-star category. I can't read this review to you because it's very long, but someone just mentioned like all of the things that you can pull from between the lines. The criticism about Western society, the criticism of capitalism, the criticism of exploitation of specific groups of people. And they said that everything this book displays is just bad in its very nature. And like, I don't know if people get that, but a dystopian novel is supposed to show what's wrong with the world. Like, it's supposed to make you see things so clearly that you maybe in everyday life kind of look over because it's your everyday life. For example, if you've read The Animal Farm by George Orwell, if you read it, you're just completely aghast and disgusted by what is happening in this book, like in this society of animals. But if you look around, baby, it's happening every day, everywhere in the world. Yes, this is a criticism of exactly that. Why is that the reason for the 1-star review? I don't get it. Someone said, I am now stupider from reading this. How? And why? No, I strongly disagree. You don't know what you're talking about, Barry. Okay, this review is just plain wrong. Like, I accept that there's different tastes in books, and I accept that there's different opinions, but at least if you give a review, state with the facts. Like, this one said, this book was a huge disappointment to me, never expected it to be that bad. Okay? Agree to disagree. But then she goes on to say, a story about 24 kids under 18 fighting and killing each other because of an evil government or whatever. Collins never explained why. There's no real reason why they should kill each other. And that's where you're wrong, honey. That is where you're wrong. Or like, obviously not you, but this person. Or, well, if she's watching, that is where you're wrong. I'm sorry. She explains very clearly, or like Snow explains very clearly, that this is to harbor fear in the districts. That this is to make them see that they are just puppets of the capital, and the capital can do with them whatever they want to. Obviously, they don't say it like that to the public. They tell the public that the Hunger Games are to remember the past revolution, like there was a revolution in the past, or a tried revolution in the past that ended in a lot of death and a lot of like civil war fights and everything. And the President Snow, he tells you very clearly that the Hunger Games happen to remind the society and the people that fighting the capital is not a good idea. Someone said, this is not easy. The book was so useless and poorly written. It nearly broke my heart to think that this mediocrity is so popular. That just broke my heart. And the thing is, it was not useless. Do you know how many young adults and teenagers and kids even took so much understanding for the bad things happening in the world out of this book? Do you know how impactful this is on like a whole generation? Some people are just unhinged. Like, what? This person said, now, this is a book I'd actually burn. With a cruel smile playing on my lips, I watch as the merciless flames devour the book. Watch as the edges of the pages singe and then turn black. Watch as they slowly crumble to ashes, which blow away with the wind. I turn around and walk away. 1 star, the characters were flatter than paper, and the title always made me hungry. What? This one just said, it's a shame that I spent my time reading this, which it's a shame that you think like that. What the fuck is this shit? The latest pop culture item? If not Twilight or Harry Potter, it's prepubescent shit like this that grown adults are reading. They're reading the same shit as their shitty teenager. Ouch! First of all, where's the hate coming? Like, from where's the hate for young adults coming? For young people growing up? Where's that hate coming from? What did they do to you? You were one once. You remember that, right? You didn't just pop out as an adult. And then Twilight, yes. Awful pop item. And Harry Potter, yes, also awful pop item. That review was just ouch. See, this again is a review I can accept. Just said, couldn't finish it, not my thing. Like, alright, cool, move on. And again, do people just not understand what they are reading? The Hunger Games is a criticism of the things it displays. This person said, call me naive, crazy, insane, or whatever you choose, but this book went against everything I stand for as a person and teaching assistant that enjoys the freedom in the land I live in. Especially as a teaching assistant, you should understand the impact this has on a young person's mind to gather the concept of bad societal structures. Like, if we try to explain to children what is wrong with the system they live in, that obviously is needed when they get older. Like, we should do that when they get older, but it's very hard for like younger children, right? And if you give them a piece of fiction that takes these concepts and overplays them, it makes it very easy for them to understand them and to see that they are wrong or bad or hurtful. So especially as a teaching assistant, Miss Liz, you should maybe rethink your opinion of this book. Okay, well, with that, let's wrap this up here. I hope you enjoyed watching me rant about 1-star reviews or just laugh at them, because I feel like that's what I did the most of the time. Please let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books, what you have rated them. Is there anything that you have rated with like a nasty 1-star review? Please let me know. I always think this is so entertaining. Or let me know if you've maybe read a 1-star review of your favorite book and what you think about that. Let me ask this question. What do you appreciate about a 1-star review? Or what does a 1-star review have to be a good 1-star review? As always, please leave a like and subscribe if you're not, and see you next time.